That one of the vandalized Norfolk Southern engines right here. The pink one.
In the diesel repair shop, we repair everything but changing out the complete diesel engine.
A lot of your inspection and light repair is done outside under that rack. If it needs to go to the shop for something in particular, then it goes there.
They will change out the water pumps, alternators, generators, piston and liners or whatever. Major repair that they can be done in a few hours. They do not have to keep those here for a long time because they need them.
They have 5 doors set up for GE and 5 for EMD units. That way their parts and tools are closer to where they want.
Then we go into the mini repair service, which is outside of the diesel shop. And that's where they will fuel them, top off the engine oil, the water if it's needed, check the units out. They do a mini maintenance, we call it.
The sand tower is a tank out here.
Basically, what they do is they load the sand crane up, and the sand crane is what runs along the rails. And they'll go in between the locomotives, and they will put sand in the locomotives.
All locomotives carry sand. This is so if they get stopped on a grade, they cannot get traction, and the engineer has control that he can put a little bit of sand down to help him get traction, or in the wintertime, if they're on some ice and they need better traction, they can use the sand.
They put sand on the engines, and then the air compressor on the engine will blow it fine sand for traction when they want to start the train, or when they want to stop it, or on slick tracks, or on hills. And that sand is all dried out here at the river end by the sand company, brought out here in covered trucks. And when they first built Daily Yard, we had to put in a power bank of 167,000 kVA transformer to dry the sand. Through trains go straight through the ones that are loaded for a certain place, like the coal trains and the container trains.
When a train is what we call a unit train comes into town, and that means that the train is not going to go over the hump.
They stop here to be fueled and get a crew change.
They come through there, it's about a 45-minute stay, it's as quick as they can get them out, because they bring them in, they dump the potty, they put sand on it, wash the windows, they take 4 ounces of oil out of the crankcase, bring it over to the shop, run it through a spectrometer, see if there's any contamination. Sometimes you won't get it done quick enough, you go out on the road, they'll call you, you have to shut it down.
All trains that stop here in North Platte have to change crew. It's a district change point.
Every train that goes through North Platte gets a new crew.
They don't ever unhook any of the cars or anything, and that's what we call a unit train. We have coal trains, we have auto racks, we have ethanol, we have grain trains and such as that. We see around 15,000 cars through this yard in a 24-hour period, and of the 15,000, we have to sort or put them over the 2 humps, about 3,000 of them.
The east departure tracks, after a train is pushed over the hill and hump into the bowl tracks, they'll gather up 3 to 4 tracks to build a train. On average, they're around 130 to 150 cars. At that point, they'll pull the train down into the east departure yards. They'll cut the switch engine off. They'll take the switch engine out of the way, and then the carman will come up and hook up to yard air. Unless the power that's going to go on it is ready and available, they'll put that power back on the train and then use it to also pump air into the train. The carman will hook up the air hoses and make sure that the train is secure and all of everything on the train is ready to leave town. And the process is pretty fast in which they can do that, and they'll call a crew for it. But that's where the train is ready for the departure. Once they get a crew on it, get it all air tested, and service is ready to leave town.
A hump yard consists of a raised mound of dirt that you shove the cars over. They will build up speed, and the switches are automatically thrown, and the cars go down and fill those tracks up going to that destination.
And that hump is designed as a dual hump. It's the only one in the world.
They come into the east receiving yard, they go up over the hump, and then they go down into the bowl.
We bring the trains in from the west, and if they have to be sorted, they will come over that hump, and we sort them into the eastbound bowl.
And then the bowl is where they classify them to where they can make up another train to pull it out. First departure, either east or west. The bowl tracks basically come off of the humps.
They sort the cars. Those are the sorting process.
You let gravity bring them down, and while the gravity is bringing them down, you're putting them where they belong in a controlled atmosphere.
They'll go into one of 64 tracks.
When that car comes off the top of that hump, it's got a number and a barcode. It's got a designated track. Those designated tracks are the way they make these trains up today.
On the east end of the bowl, they'll take these groups of tracks out and pull them all down to the departure yard, and they're all in the line.
Both of our humps are on the east side of the hill. Because the lay of our land here is a 6-foot drop to the mile going to the east, well, we use the gravity then to help get these cars down into the to roll uphill.
The idea behind it is you have a receiving yard, the train pulls into it, about an 8 train, the power cuts off and goes over here to the shop. Pair of switch engines goes up behind it with the conductor, and he'll get a ride back to the head end. They will shove to the hill.
They push it up there with a remote engine, and the guy in the tower that has the remote to that engine.
The other conductor goes inside the building. He watches for bad orders. That's a red tag. That's the only thing that doesn't show. Each car and engine out here has a 9-inch gray tag on each side of it, and it's triggered by a reader 20 miles west of here, 35 miles east of here. That gives the engine numbers and any defects on the cars. It gives whether it's a load and empty, where it's going to, how much it weighs, and then all this is sent to the hump. These are only on the hump trains. So the other guy in there is looking for bad orders or the red tags. The guy that is pulling the pin or separating the cars, he has to manually pull a pin. He's also running the engine. They have a belt pack that hangs off of their neck. And he controls the speed. The guy in the tower tells him how many cars to cut loose. We can handle one load through the retarders or up to 3 empties.
When it leaves the tower or the building on top of the hump, it rolls free on its own, no brakes on it, and the computer controls the brakes on down on the track and the switches.
The first retarder that they come to is the master, because the car will jump up to a little better than 10 miles an hour, just almost instantly. It will, and there are 2 steel bars that are air actuated that come up and actually grab the wheels and slow it down. It'll go about another 100, 150 yards, and that is down by the highlight towers. And that gives it the final squeeze so the car does not hit the other cars in excess of 4 miles per hour. The idea behind this is if you flat switch, you have to have an engine shoving the cars one at a time. You bring them up to speed, somebody pulls the pin, the car glides into the track. It's very labor intensive, and you tend to corner cars, damage the goods and things like that. The computer knows the distance from the car ahead of it and the distance the car has to go. And that is put into the retarders. So once that is done and they get enough to make a train, the guy down here in the tower just in front of you, right there by the road, we call that East Tower, he will contact his engineer or his conductors on the switch engines, tell him how many tracks he needs and in which order they go, because that is the way the train will set them out. So they will go in and couple them up in reverse and then get the head car and start pulling them out. Each bowl track will hold approximately 1/4 mile of cars.
We see around 15,000 cars through this yard in a 24-hour period, and of the 15,000, we have to sort or put them over the 2 humps, about 3,000 of it.
When a car gets into the other humps, it takes about a day and a half to be moved out before it goes on another train. Our turnaround time here is 8 to 11 hours. So we are that much more efficient. We do not unload cars here anymore unless they're damaged. Everything here is a rental. So everything you're looking at here will not be here tomorrow, other than stringing engines right down in front of it.
And that's the efficiency of this yard. The bull tracks make it where they can sort the cars out in a continuous movement, where we used to have to flat switch it from one track to another. It was highly dangerous. You had to be attuned to hand signals, and everything about it was entirely different than what it is nowadays.
Basically, it's the yard master that decides what tracks he's gonna put them in. You might have 4 or 5 tracks for St. Louis today, and tomorrow you might only have 3.
They all go east and they go west, so that's basically how you get that. They call that a manifest, is the mixed freight train that is. So when they make mixed freight trains, this is what they do because they go to certain areas.
We block trains for other railroads, we block trains for ourselves.
Some of them go to Cheyenne, some of them go to the east, some of them go to the west coast, some of them go to the east coast. So There's a little company, Lorimer, with a shipper, that's bringing the cars back. They probably bring out west someplace.
The East Bowl has 64 tracks, the West Bowl has 50 tracks. And that's what makes this the largest rail yard in the world, because there's a total of 114 tracks, which they can switch cars out into and classify them for destination and the territory.
They've used the whole concept here in North Platte, actually, since 1948. When it first started, we didn't have the automation to it. We had what they called one of the first computers, a Pacheco machine. It is now in the Smithsonian. Uh-huh.
The sand tower is a tank out here.
Basically, what they do, they load the sand crane up, and that, the sand crane is what runs along the rails, and they'll go in between the locomotives, and they will put sand in the locomotives.
All locomotives carry sand. This is so if they get stopped on a grade, they cannot get traction, and the engineer has control that he can put a little bit of sand down to help him get traction. Or in the wintertime, if they're on some ice and they need better traction, they can use the sand.
They sand on the engines, and then the air compressor on the engine blow it, fine sand. Traction when they want to start the train, or when they want to stop it, or slick tracks, or on hill. And that sand is all dried out here. Our bag, 367,000 kVA running to dry the sand.
We just got like 100 more weeks. Is that the actual rail? Is that the actual? Is that the most accurate? No. We read about that in our book this week, but originally no, I know, but Cause that's such a railway wall, we can hold it by wood. Also, this
It's a quick stop. This is the world's largest.
Can we go down and get souvenirs?
Which is your favorite train? I like. Ooh, I like.
I like
the Denver Rio Grande.
Desert Victory.
Desert Victory was that one.
Oh, yes, Desert Victory. Wait, no, I like the Missouri Pacific.
Big boy.
I like the big one. The big one. Seven big boys. We go there? Oh, we go there? I thought I was in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah,
Sometimes that couple themselves for some reason. Never. All 10 years. All 10 years. Oh, I see it.
So that means that there's one of them. Somebody is up.
So somebody know the other one?
When they're ready to go.
Wow. Yes. Yeah. was gonna say. Oh.
Alright, start that. So